So you have been around music for most of your life then,
I have,
playing, listening. How did you get into DJing specifically?
That's a really good question, too, and I'm glad you asked. So I never planned to be a DJ,
Okay.
ever. I've always loved music ever since I was a teenager. I could probably tell you the first album I ever bought might have been by the Yardbirds, I think, probably. But anyway, to get back to your question, so years and years and years ago, my wife and I, along with a couple other couples, used to throw parties. Not house parties, but we would rent a facility. And that facility, 9 times out of 10, was the Meridian Vets Club.
Yeah.
It was cheap. Everybody knew where it was.
Yeah.
And so I was always the DJ. And I'll tell you why I was always the DJ. Because I was the one that had all the CDs.
Sure.
Yeah. So I didn't have good equipment. The equipment that I used was a home CD player.
Yeah.
That when people danced on the wooden dance floor,
Would it skip a little
it would
bit?
skip. I used equipment that belonged to our band. I didn't have my own equipment, and I just pieced stuff together, and I just provided music. But a lot of people came up to me and said, "Hey, Craig, that was great the way you seamed everything together and you kept everybody on the dance floor. How'd you learn that?" And I said, "I didn't learn. I just did it." So then a DJ was born. In the beginning, all I did was, I paid my dues. I remember driving up to East Brady.
Okay.
I'd get off work on Friday nights, drive up to East Brady, play at a little place called the All-Star Bar, start playing at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, something like that, and play till 1 in the morning, 1:30 in the morning, get home about 3. And I also, do you remember, you may be too young, do you remember the Locker Room?
The Locker Room.
The Locker Room was a local bar here in Butler.
I don't think I do.
Yeah, anyway, the Locker Room was a place that I played at. But, man, Jackie's, which was a place on Main Street, upstairs at the time. Now, by this time, I graduated to actually being kind of sort of a DJ.
Okay.
And I had real DJ equipment. I remember going to Hollywood Music in McKees Rocks, because it's the only place I knew about, and just walking in and telling the sales guy, "Hey, I need some DJ equipment." So whatever he told me to buy, I did.
Right.
I didn't spend a lot of money, but whatever he told me to buy, I did.
Sure.
And so at the time, the equipment was really, really heavy. And so getting back to Jackie's was upstairs. I don't even know what Jackie's is now. But anyway, kind of in the middle of Main Street. And I played upstairs in the bar. And, man, I had to have people help me drag my equipment. Because you'd park in the back parking lot and you'd drag this stuff up. And the stuff weighed so much. And I carried my stuff. When I became a wedding DJ, I carried my equipment in a 6x12 cargo trailer hooked up behind my vehicle. So sometimes it'd be hard to get into places.
Right.
I had to learn how to back it up because I'd never backed up a trailer before. I mean, it was kind of like learn as you go.
It's not simple, yeah.
Yeah. And then equipment got to the point where it is now, where I've got a Chrysler Pacifica, stow and go seats, everything fits in with room to spare.
That's awesome,
So,
man.
Was that the question you asked me?
Sure, it certainly was.
Okay.
Well, so I'd love to know. So you went from DJing bars. How did you transition into weddings? And what was that? Just someone asking you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I kind of knew I would like to be a wedding DJ, but honestly, I hate to say it on the air, I was kind of afraid.
Why is that?
Well, I didn't know. I had never done a wedding, number one. I hadn't practiced for a wedding. I didn't really know the how a wedding would unfold.
Sure.
You know, like what comes first, what comes second,
Sure.
and all this and that. Well, I'll never forget this either. So a good friend of mine, Georgie, who at the time was the banquet manager at the Days Inn,
Yeah. Cool.
called me. And she's like, "Hey, Craig, we've got a wedding coming up here. The girl's DJ passed away." So that was a terrible thing.
Right.
The bride had gone to college in Clarion, and she met her DJ in a bar, young guy, but apparently something with his heart, I don't know. But anyway, so Georgie calls me, and I said, "Sure, I'll do it." And in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I just said yes. But that was my first wedding. So I went into it, I did some research, I went into it, and everybody had a great time, and from there it just built. And I started doing weddings little by little, and they started building, and I got a reputation. My name got out there, and up to 44, 45 weddings a year, sometimes 50,
Wow.
doing Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. But that's slowed down now.
Sure. Sure.
And